When families start thinking about relocating to St. Johns County, the excitement is real. You've heard about the #1 schools, the new neighborhoods, and the amazing lifestyle. But here's the problem. A lot of people move here without knowing the full picture and end up making mistakes that cost them time, money, and peace of mind. I've seen families fall in love with a house online, move in, and then realize the commute is way longer than they thought, or that the community rules don't fit their lifestyle. And once you're in, fixing those mistakes isn't easy. So in this video, I'm going to share the most common mistakes I see people make when relocating to St. Johns County and how you can avoid them. If we haven't met yet, my name is Josh Rogers. I've been a real estate agent here in Northeast Florida for the past 15 years, and I lead the F3 home team. We've helped hundreds of families relocate to St. Johns County, and what we focus on is helping you find not just a house, but a home that truly matches your needs, your lifestyle, and your values. And what's great is that it usually starts with something really simple, a quick text. So if you're even in the thinking about it stage, shoot me a message and we'll start that conversation together. Now let's get into the first mistake you'll definitely want to avoid. One of the biggest mistakes I see is families falling in love with a house online, but not researching the neighborhood around it. On Zillow or Realtor.com, that house might look perfect, the right number of bedrooms, the right price, but what you don't see is the traffic patterns, the school zoning, or what the community actually feels like. St. Johns County is full of master-planned communities, each with its own vibe. Some are golf cart friendly and packed with family activities, while others are quieter, smaller, and more private. If you don't visit or at least dive deeper into local research, you risk ending up in a neighborhood that doesn't fit your lifestyle. So the takeaway here is simple. Don't just shop for houses, shop for communities. Because in St. Johns, where you live matters just as much as the home itself. And speaking of lifestyle, that leads us right into the next common mistake, which is assuming all parts of St. Johns County are equally convenient. Here's the truth. This county is large and growing fast. Depending on where you live, your daily commute could look very different. For example, if you're working in Jacksonville, living in Nocatee might make sense because you've got the parkway that connects quickly to US 1 and I-95. But if you buy farther south near St. Augustine, that commute could add 20 to 30 extra minutes every day. And don't forget about traffic hotspots like County Road 210 or the Buckman Bridge. At peak times, those areas can really slow you down. Many families move here for the schools and lifestyle, but if you don't think about your commute, you may find yourself spending more time in the car than you want. So always map it out, drive it during rush hour if you can, and make sure the location fits your daily routine. Now let's talk about money, because this is where a lot of people get caught off guard. Property taxes in St. Johns County can be confusing, and one of the most common mistakes buyers make is looking at the seller's current tax bill and assuming theirs will be the same. The reality is, when you buy, the county reassesses the home at your purchase price. So if the seller had lived there for years and had exemptions, their bill might look a lot lower than what yours will be. On top of that, many newer communities in St. Johns have CDD fees, which are collected through your tax bill. These cover infrastructure and amenities, and they can add several $1,000s a year to your costs. If you don't ask about CDDs, you might be shocked when your mortgage payment is higher than you expected. The good news is Florida offers exemptions like the homestead exemption, which can lower your taxable value and cap annual increases. But the key is asking the right questions before you buy. And actually, this is a great point to pause, because if you're trying to figure all this out, I've got a resource that can help. I run a private Facebook group called Moving to St. Johns County in St. Augustine. It's full of families who are either planning their move or already living here. And it's one of the best ways to ask questions, get real-time advice, and hear what life here is really like. Whether you're curious about taxes, schools, or neighborhoods, you'll find honest insights straight from locals. I'll drop the link below so you can request to join. Now let's keep moving and talk about another mistake that catches people off guard: schools. St. Johns County ranks among the top school district in Florida, and that's a big reason why families move here. But a mistake people make is thinking that every single school is the same. While the district as a whole is highly rated, some schools might be a better fit depending on your child's needs. For example, certain neighborhoods feed into specific schools, and the programs, extracurriculars, and even student-to-teacher ratios can vary. Another factor is capacity. Some of the fastest growing neighborhoods are zoned to schools that are already close to full, which means rezoning could happen in the future. If schools are a priority, you want to make sure you know not just the current assignment, but also how growth could impact it. So don't just look at St. John's schools are great and stop there. Dig deeper into the actual schools tied to the neighborhoods you're considering. And finally, let's wrap this up with a mistake that's more about lifestyle than logistics. The last mistake is moving here just for one factor, like schools or price, without thinking about the bigger picture of lifestyle. St. Johns County is made up of a variety of communities, from busy, activity-filled places like Nocatee to quiet wooded areas near Switzerland Point. What feels right for your family depends on more than just the house itself. Do you want to be in a community with events and a built-in social calendar, or do you prefer more space, privacy, and quiet? Families who don't think about the long-term lifestyle sometimes realize after a year or two that the community doesn't fit how they actually live day to day. That's why it's so important to picture not just where you'll live, but how you'll live once you're here. So those are 5 of the most common mistakes I see families make when relocating to St. Johns County. Only focusing on the house, underestimating commutes, misunderstanding taxes and fees, assuming all schools are equal, and not considering long-term lifestyle fit. If you can avoid these, you'll be way ahead of the game. And if you're seriously considering a move to St. Johns County and want a local team that knows the ins and outs of each community, shoot me a text. My team and I would love to hear about your plans and help you find a home that fits your lifestyle, your needs, and your values. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.